The film opens in the early 1960s in Baltimore. A young mute woman named Elisa Esposito wakes up on her couch. She lives a simple, routine life. Every morning, she makes breakfast, takes a shower, and pleasures herself in the bathtub before going to work. She always stops by to visit her neighbor Giles. Elisa works the night shift as a janitor at the Oakham Aerospace Research Center alongside her friend Zelda Fuller. She keeps to herself and doesn't cause any trouble at work. Before moving forward, give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. It will help us to keep bringing your favorite movie recaps. One night, the floor manager gathers the staff and announces that the center will soon receive an important asset.
Today we are receiving a new team and asset here in T4.
He introduces Dr. Richard Hoffler as the new head of the biology department, who will lead several experiments on the asset. However, no one knows that Hoffler is secretly a Russian spy. Soon after, the asset arrives in a pressurized tank, accompanied by government agent Richard Strickland. Strickland, a tough and ruthless officer, quickly takes charge as the center's chief of security. The staff then return to their duties. Later, Elisa hears strange growling noises from the tank. Curious, she sneaks a peek and discovers a strange creature inside. When she touches the glass, the creature grows agitated and smacks the tank hard. Security immediately moves it to a secure lab. The next night, Elisa and Zelda are sorting garbage when the door to the lab suddenly swings open. Strickland steps out, his hands covered in blood, while scientists and medical staff rush to assist him. Zelda pulls Elisa away from the scene. During the dinner break, the two friends chat about what they saw earlier. Their conversation is cut short when the floor manager orders them to clean the lab. When they arrive, they find the lab in a horrific, bloody state. Ignoring the mess, they start mopping the floor. Suddenly, Elisa discovers Strickland's severed fingers on the ground and quickly puts them in a paper bag. Zelda goes to get the manager, leaving Elisa alone with a chance to see the asset. She realizes the asset is a human-like amphibian kept in a small tank. When the manager arrives, Elisa hands over the paper bag with Strickland's fingers. However, her curiosity about the strange creature grows. It lives in water. She feels connected to water. This could be the start of something extraordinary. The next evening, Elisa heads straight to the laboratory. She hears the amphibian man swimming in a small pool and comes up with a plan to make him appear. She takes a boiled egg from her lunch bag, sits on the pool's edge, and cracks it open with a spoon. As she hoped, the creature slowly pokes his head above the water and approaches her. Elisa sets the egg down on the edge and motions for him to take it. To her delight, he calmly grabs the egg before diving back into the water. In the next scene, Strickland calls Zelda and Elisa into his office. He is a shrewd man and wants to carefully examine all the staff at the center. He focuses on Elisa and digs into her past. Through his research, he discovers that someone abandoned her as a baby on a riverbank. Strickland then notices the scars on her neck and asks if they relate to her being mute. Elisa gestures that she doesn't think so because she couldn't speak even as a child. Before they leave, Strickland warns them to stay away from the creature in the lab. He reveals that he captured the creature in South America and brought it back to the U.S. Strickland cautions the janitors that, despite its human-like appearance, the creature is still a monster. Elisa, however, remains fascinated. She starts visiting the lab regularly after the scientists leave, using cleaning as an excuse. One evening, she takes a small record player from her bag and places it near the pool. She plays music for the creature and gives him a single egg. If he takes the egg without surfacing, she pauses the music to lure him out. As expected, the creature pokes his head out and grunts in irritation. Elisa, delighted by this discovery, unpauses the record as a reward. Over time, she teaches him the sign for music, and the creature quickly learns it. Their secret meetings continue for days, and they even start dancing together. One night, Elisa brings the creature his dinner and notices another janitor dancing with him. The janitor doesn't interrupt them. Instead, he realizes that the creature feels complex emotions, much like humans. After this, the janitor contacts his real bosses and arranges a meeting at a secure location. A Soviet agent meets him, and the janitor shares his notes on the creature and a blueprint of the labs. At this time, the Cold War is nearing its end, but the Soviets still plan to kidnap the creature from the Americans. The janitor insists on moving forward quickly, believing the creature is intelligent and capable of communication. Elisa continues her work, handling the laundry for the facility. Two technicians repairing a security camera chat while working. From their conversation, she learns how the cameras can be disabled if necessary. Later, Elisa enters the lab and discovers the creature chained up and badly wounded. She rushes to help him, but hears footsteps approaching the lab. She quickly hides behind a desk and watches as Strickland arrives. He goes straight to the creature and begins torturing him, leaving Elisa deeply disturbed. A few days later, a U.S. Army general visits AM, where Strickland presents the amphibian man.
Good God almighty, is that it? Hell of a lot bigger than I thought.
The general is shocked by the creature's size and appearance. Strickland explains that he found the creature in the Amazon forests, where native tribes worshipped him as a god. Hoffler, who is also present, tells the general that the creature can switch between two breathing mechanisms, making him a unique organism with potential for scientific progress. As the presentation continues, Hoffler notices the creature struggling to breathe after being out of the water for too long. He begs Strickland to return the creature to the water, but Strickland refuses and carries on with his speech. Eventually, the amphibian man passes out, and soldiers move him to the pressure tank. Outside, Elisa overhears the general discussing the creature's fate with the scientists. She carefully follows them to Strickland's office and learns that the creature will soon be killed and dissected. That night, a terrified Elisa asks Giles to help her free the creature. At first, Giles laughs it off, thinking she is joking. But Elisa remains firm and reveals everything she has seen at 8 a.m. Finally, Giles agrees, knowing Elisa has never lied to him in all the years he has known her. By now, it is clear that Elisa loves the amphibian man. He sees her differently than anyone else ever has, as a whole person, not someone with deficiencies. Hoffler meets with his associates and tells them the creature will soon be dissected. The Soviets fear that if the Americans proceed, they could achieve a major scientific breakthrough. To stop this, the Soviet authorities order Hoffler to cut the facility's power and use the chaos to kill the creature. Meanwhile, Elisa discusses her plan to free the creature with her neighbor. Giles prepares a vehicle to look like one of the laundry vans that pick up from the facility. He plans to use fake documents to reach the lab by 5 a.m. Elisa's role is to disable the security cameras and smuggle the creature out in a laundry cart. However, Hoffler secretly prepares a poison to kill the creature. He is unhappy about it, but sees no other option. That night, after most people have left, Hoffler goes to the chief of security's office. He meets Strickland there and pleads with him not to kill the creature, but Strickland refuses. The two argue, and while Strickland is distracted, Hoffler notices something odd on a monitor. He sees Elisa moving a security camera and suddenly remembers her. She's the same girl he saw dancing with the amphibian man. Realizing she plans to free the creature, Hoffler decides to help her. Hoffler heads to the lab where the creature is held. Elisa arrives shortly after with a laundry cart. To her surprise, the scientist gives her the keys to the chains around the creature's neck. He hands her a special mixture to keep the creature alive and promises to cut the power, giving her 5 minutes to escape. Elisa frees the creature, rolls him into the cart, and heads out. Outside, Giles arrives at the facility's gate, but a security guard stops him. Strickland sees the van on his CCTV monitor and grows suspicious. At that moment, Hoffler cuts the power to the entire facility and rushes toward the main gate. Meanwhile, Zelda finds Elisa near the lab and helps her sneak the creature to the loading dock. HLA reaches the main gate before Strickland. He sneaks up behind the security guard and knocks him out with a metal rod. This gives Giles time to reach the loading dock, where the girls are already waiting with the amphibian man. They shove the creature into the back of the van, and Giles drives off. Strickland arrives at the gate moments later, but it's too late. Furious, he scolds the guards and launches a full investigation. The next morning, Elisa makes a new plan to release the amphibian man into the ocean. She decides to wait for the October rains to release him into the canals. To remind herself, she writes the plan on her calendar. Days go by, and Elisa begins developing a romantic connection with the creature. She, Zelda, and HLA continue working their night shifts, acting as if nothing happened. One night, Strickland questions Elisa and Zelda, but it's just a formality, and he dismisses them. He believes trained agents took the creature, not simple cleaning staff. Meanwhile, the amphibian man struggles to adapt to life in Giles's apartment. He spends most of his time in the bathtub and eats whatever he's given. One day, he kills and eats Giles's pet cat. Furious, Giles shouts at him, but the creature lashes back and scratches his arm. At AIM, HLA continues to help the girls by giving them care packages. Elisa shares a better plan to release the creature and thanks HLA for his support. Weeks pass, and both Elisa and Giles grow emotionally attached to the amphibian man. Elisa feels an intense romantic connection, while Giles bonds with him despite the earlier fight. The creature tries to make amends for the cat incident by placing his hand on Giles's head and magically healing his wounds. The next morning, Giles discovers hair growing on his bald spot. One afternoon, Elisa floods her apartment so the amphibian man can swim and breathe freely. Their romantic bond becomes undeniable, and they eventually make love in the water. Intense, passionate, and otherworldly. October arrives, and Elisa notices the docks filling with rainwater. The amphibian man struggles too, having been away from his natural habitat for too long. At AM, Strickland still hasn't found any leads weeks after the abduction. The general gives him a 36-hour ultimatum to find the creature or lose his job. Desperate, Strickland begins an intense search for clues about the missing amphibian man. His search pays off when he starts following Hoffler. One afternoon, Strickland overhears the scientist planning a meeting at an unknown location. He secretly follows Hoffler and discovers him meeting with 4 nationals identified as spies. Strickland realizes Hoffler is a Russian spy. He ambushes the group, kills everyone except Hoffler, and tortures him for information about the creature. Strickland eventually learns that the cleaning staff freed the amphibian man. Armed with this information, he goes to Zelda's house. Zelda refuses to betray her friend, but Strickland forces her husband to talk. He learns Elisa plans to release the creature at the docks today. Strickland rushes to Elisa's apartment, leaving Zelda and her husband injured but alive. As soon as he leaves, Zelda warns Elisa that Strickland is coming. Elisa and Giles prepare to leave for the canals and release the amphibian man. Moments later, Strickland storms into Elisa's apartment and notices a note marked on the calendar. Realizing where they're headed, he races to the site. Elisa and Giles reach the city's canals and say goodbye to the creature. Just before he can dive into the water, Strickland arrives and shoots both the creature and Elisa. Furious, Giles knocks Strickland down, giving the amphibian man time to heal. He rises slowly, filled with anger towards the man who tortured him for weeks. Strickland falls to his knees and admits the creature is a god. Still, the amphibian man slices his throat and kills him. He then takes the unconscious Elisa and jumps into the canal. Underwater, he uses his powers to heal her. He touches her neck, and her scars open to reveal gills like his. The movie ends with Giles' voiceover, saying that the amphibian man and Elisa lived happily ever after. And that's how the movie ends. What did you think of this movie? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and press the bell icon for more amazing videos. See you next time.